are back. We got a win, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. Oh my god, that game was so stressful, honestly. You guys should have seen me yesterday watching that game. I was freaking out. Very down for a while. Definitely a slow start, but you know, that's the nature of week one. You know, people overreacting to things. I get it. But you look across the league, a lot of teams actually struggled, especially offensively. It was a weird week. Like, half the quarterbacks didn't even throw for over 175 yards. But there was a lot of positives to take over for the game. I've now watched all of the film, like at least once. I've watched every play at least once now on the all 22. So I have a pretty good understanding of what happened in the game. Certain players I've watched a lot of. Some I still need to get to. But man, that was insane. What's up, Zach? How you doing? What's up, Don Dada? How's everyone feeling? Oh my god. So nice to get a win, especially I just love how it was such like a gritty win, I think is a good word for it. Like they fought for that. They showed toughness. For how good the Jaguars defensive line is, like we'll get into like all this stuff, like we'll get into player specific, some group specifics, things that I saw offensively, defensively, some of the coaching things, but wow. That was insane. Scared for Thursday? I mean, yeah, it should be fun. We'll see. I think the Dolphins have a pretty good chance, so. Took me hours. Oh, Scotty, trust me, I was on like this happens to me, like it happens to me sometimes, like it takes me so long to like wind down after stuff like that. It definitely took me hours to like until I was just like chilling, like second half of the 4 o'clock games, where I was like, okay, I'm finally back to a normal mood. That was very exciting. Yeah, so slow start, that happens in week one. So, and a lot of the struggles the Dolphins had, I think, are very fixable. It's actually very interesting. Defense, lots of things to like. Still have some concerns with certain areas, I think, like with inconsistencies. I think the Dolphins will be kind of inconsistent versus the run to start the year. They did way better in the second half. Really want to go. I'll go over in Weaver's. I'm going to do a film breakdown on the defense tomorrow, and I'm going to go over Weaver's defense. I actually really liked what Weaver did with his play calling. I liked all the pre-snap movements. And I feel like we're just scratching the surface there because I don't think he got to use Ramsey exactly how he wanted to. Should be interesting. Yeah, I think getting Bills early is also a good thing for them. Are you nervous about the season? I would say, I mean, I feel like always nervous, honestly, watching the games at least a little bit. That's just like how I am as a person. But like looking at it as like a full season, does this game make me more nervous? No, not really. I saw positive signs from the defense, positive signs towards the end from the offense, and I know what the offense can do. The areas they struggled are very fixable. They kind of beat themselves in a lot of situations, and they left a lot of points on the board. So I think the offense will get back, you know, once they get in rhythm. They're very, you know, timing-based offense. And that was kind of weird because I talked about it in my video, but Tua kind of struggled in the areas he's usually very good in. Like he missed some easy throws. I thought there were sometimes he could have been a little better with his timing on some like his basic throws. But the Jaguars were clearly trying to take that away. And the Dolphins responded with their two biggest plays being like, you know, the ones where he, you know, was patient. The pass protection was good, and he got to his second read, waited for it to open up, and then hit the one to Waddle, and then hit the one to Tyreek. The reports about swarming the ball is true. Yes, they played, like, especially that one play for Ramsey. I just got all the clips for the defensive one. I'm about to record that probably later tonight, and then I'll get that uploaded tomorrow. Miami O-line, yeah. I'll start with the O-line, I think, really getting to the line. So I think out of the whole line, the only one that was like bad to me, in my opinion, after watching the film was Robert Jones. I thought Robert Jones had a bad game. I thought Armstead was the best of the group for sure. Armstead just played super consistent across the board, like did his job pretty consistently. Then I thought Liam Eichenberg played pretty decent. He did give that sack against Armstead, but also there was there was some room to escape on the left. Like there was pressure on the left and he had to step up kind of into the Armstead sack. So I don't know if that was like 100% like, oh, Eichenberg gave up that play. Like that was like a combination of plays too. And then, yeah, so Liam had a decent game. And then I thought Brewer, I'm going to make a video on Brewer tomorrow, like specifically on Brewer. I thought he did a pretty good job. Okay. Make Jalen Ellis have ice in his veins. Made me energy to the game when he feel. I'm surprised he didn't throw it downfield a few times near the end. Honestly, you know what I was thinking? I was like, maybe this is like, dude, Jason Sanders better from 50 plus than he is from 40 in the 40-yard range. Yeah, but overall with the O-line, I think, yeah, so I really like what Brewer showed, especially, they struggled run blocking, especially early on, but they actually created a lot of movement towards the end. But the Jaguars have a very, very good defensive line. But yeah, they obviously were going to make a play. Put some bass in your voice. Okay, Mr. Tough Guy. But yeah. Looking at Liam, I thought Liam actually played very consistent, did his job. Robert Jones had multiple big blunders in run blocking and pass protection. He got multiple holding calls. That was tough to watch. I liked what Burr did. I think the big thing, though, with the O-line is McDaniel, you could clearly tell from his play calling that he didn't trust them for the most part, you know? Because he called a lot of screens. I think McDaniel, with his play calling, and that helped slow down the pass rush for sure, like all the screen calls. But I do think it hurt some drives with him doing that, putting us in a tough position. And you could tell, like, on those plays where Tua had to get to a second read on the Tyreek touchdown, we were doing very aggressive sets. We were doing play action. We were slowing down the Jags pass rush with our play calling too, and that definitely helped out the O-line. So, like we've been saying, like, they're going to do their best job with the play calling to make the O-line's job easy. And I think for the most part, they did a decent job there. And I think the run blocking will improve versus defenses that are easier to, go out against. Oh yeah, Teron Johnson out Thursday. That is true. That actually is pretty big. Yeah, I was thinking about that, Scotty. Like, it kind of was just our run game because we couldn't really run the ball up the middle at the start of the game, and that's what they kind of went to it. But I do feel like they went to it a little too often. I feel like they didn't give us a chance to push the ball down the field. There was a few screenplays that I was like, I liked, and there was also some that were just dropped. Like, Smythe had a really bad game. He was pretty bad the whole time. I feel like Johnny Smith did not have a great game, but I think I still have pretty good confidence in him gaining more of a role in this offense because I do think we need him. I thought Julian Hill was the best of the tight end groups. He did a good job out there blocking. And then anything else for the offense? Also, I love the fire that they started playing with. I feel like the Dolphins, one of the narratives they get talked about a lot is like not being tough enough or not playing with enough passion, fire. Specifically Tua, like we heard about what Tyreek said about the speech Tua gave. I thought that was big. And then I thought another big thing was, like, you could see it on the plays where Ramsey had to hustle people down. Phillips was playing with super hustle on that play. A lot of the guys were running all the way across the field. You could tell they weren't giving up. That's towards the end of the game. That's when people were gassed. Like, on both sides of the ball, both teams were gassed. Like, you could tell we started running it down their throat. Jeff Wilson had a good game. Like, when we got him in there and we just started running power and counter and down the B gaps, we started creating movement. Austin Jackson had some good reps there. So did Julian Hill. They just started creating that stuff. But yeah, it was really, really, really nice. Let's see. I think I might be able to. Let me see if that works. I might have fixed the ad problem, Scotty. We'll see if it ends up, if you get more or not. Just let me know. I think I turned them not necessarily off, but YouTube was doing them, not me. I turned it where only I can turn them on manually, and I haven't turned them on yet. And I only would do it during when we're watching like a game and it's like commercial during the game. But yeah, it was a weird game. I loved the short yardage runs. That was last year. We struggled in the short yardage areas. We gave Alec Ingold multiple carries, and he converted them both times. There was another one we were going to do it, but they false started, and it looked like Ingold was going to have room to get it through. Yeah, Waddle and Tyreek had big plays, and I feel like Tua even missed one to Tyreek early. More opportunities. Speaking of Waddle, this was something that I saw on Twitter, and let's see. Let me pull this up. Let me go big. Here we go. This was Kyle Krabs grinding the tape actually pointed this out, but you could see this is the first play. Look at Waddle. He's trying to like motion to Tua, like, hey, I got the look that I want, and he just didn't see the alert that Waddle wanted exactly. Now let me go to the second play. And then the second play is insane. In like, there's really only 2 receivers in the league that can do that type of thing on that type of play. Grinding the Tape mentioned it, but I believe Tyler DeSena was the one that posted the videos, being like, "Oh yeah, I just found it." If Tua saw the alert, would he not have rolled left? Yes, I imagine he probably would have just dropped straight back and taken that throw to the right. If he was given that. Sometimes, I don't know, I'm not in the rooms, and certain play calls have alerts where like, hey, you can change this type of drop if you get this certain type of look. That one's a little crazy to actually change it that much. So I don't know. Maybe Waddle was just like, hey, because Tua does like to go off script a little bit. He even talked about that play being a little bit off script. But yeah, that was interesting. PFF actually graded our O-line pretty high, I think, other than Robert Jones, which I do agree with the Robert Jones being the lowest. I don't know if I agree with their grades exactly. I don't know how PFS is grading, but I don't really put too much stock in it. Here's another clip of like Brewer on space, taking out someone at the second level. This was the one that, this should have been an Achane touchdown, the screen to him that they didn't count for some reason, but we got scored on the next play. But Brewer actually played pretty well. I'm really excited for his fit in the offense. Wonder if they can alert and then he even rolls right. Yeah, well, I imagine he probably doesn't want to do that rolling to the right. He probably just wants to do it going straight back. That's just more of to his strength. Let's see. Anything? Yeah, I got it here. Yeah, so Jeff Wilson loved that switch up to him. And we can talk about like Jalen Wright was inactive. That doesn't surprise me. And I know some people were surprised by the inactive list. The inactive list, only one that was surprised me was Bonner, by the way. The rest of them weren't very surprising to me. Across the board. Maybe the Camaro one, I thought he would be active, but I thought he would only see like a couple of snaps. But yeah, it was nice to see Jeff get downhill. I talked about it a little bit in that one time, but yeah, he was getting downhill, finishing runs when the team's tired at the end of the game. Hopefully we get to see Malik. That was another thing I wanted to talk about. Dolphins ran more 2 running back sets in this game than anyone in the league. It was like over 50% they had 2 running backs on the field, like running 21 and 22. 22 they were pretty successful in. I saw CK Parrott just post about it, like the stats about it, and I noticed it on film. They were very successful towards the end of the game in 22 when they had a running back, a fullback, and 2 tight ends, and they just outpowered the Jacksonville Jaguars at the point of attack late in the game. They were bullying them up front. It was definitely really, really interesting to see. But so far I did not Tua waiting hard on that first read throw because many were open. I'm not sure what you're trying to say. I actually thought the receivers struggled to get open for a lot of the game, because Jags played a lot of man-to-man. They played a lot of cover 1, and that was why we need the receivers back. We need OBJ and Craig Kraft because there were so many times where it was just like a third down situation, and then they like basically kind of doubled Tyreek or Waddle. We only had one of them on the field, and then everyone else was just not open at all. That's why we desperately need those receivers to come back to actually even be able to play 11, because we do not have the receiver depth right now to play 11 personnel on a consistent level. We are going to be a heavy 21 team, more of a 12 personnel team. 22 seemed really interesting. You think Kamara and Tyndall active Thursday to get more bodies for Rush Allen? Definitely possible. I think would like to get after Allen. Yeah, it would definitely be interesting to have as many guys with a lot of speed on the field and keep them fresh, because maybe more of a rotation. It's just only like we already have 5 linebackers on the roster and you only need 4. So you don't need to keep 5 active. So he would have to be going places someone else, but I think they probably want Riley for special teams. And then the same thing for Kamara. Maybe they want body somewhere else, but I could see Kamara being active. I do agree Wright should not be inactive, but just the case of it. Listen to that one earlier about him. Let's just be happy it wasn't underthrown. Yeah, he did overthrown, which it happens, man. Like, go look. Like, if you look around the league, so many people are missing deep opportunities. Tua's always one of the arguably one of the best deep passers accuracy wise. So I'm not too worried about him missing some throws. Like the things Tua struggled in, it was stuff that he's usually very good at, and it's just week 1, so I'm not too concerned about that. And he showed promise. Like, he looked way more athletic. Like, way more maybe is a little bit of stretch, but he looked more athletic for sure. Like, and he was our leading rusher in the first half, and he had another run called back that was like an 11-yard run from a Robert Jones hold. He definitely looked more comfortable. Jalen Phillips looked back in form. You know, I love Jalen Phillips. Phillips was balling. I'm gonna make a Phillips video too, where I just focus on Phillips. Loved seeing that. They were chipping and double teaming him a lot. That was really nice. Defense was super, super hungry. I loved how they played, like with their aggressiveness. I loved the pre-snap movement. We only got to see, I think Ramsey only played the nickel like once. I'm imagining he's going to move around a lot more once he's healthy. So I'm not too worried about that. I think that's why we're kind of just scratching the surface. Storm Duck played some snaps. Didn't really get too much action, but he'd have a nice tackle in run defense. Great. Okay, I think I just disconnected for a second. Hopefully we're back. JP is a dog, yes. Deep pass to Waddle was perfectly placed. Yeah, I think if Waddle kept going to the sideline, I think he tried to like almost like cut it up too early. If he kept going to the sideline, I think he had a chance to score. Red was the first time our line played together. Don't agree with that from McDaniel. We need to do better in training camp. You're back. Yeah. It tells me at the bottom. Definitely love my connection. Holland played great. Holland made the play of the game, obviously, but then he also had a couple other great plays. He had another pass deflection on third down. I'm like, I remember seeing it pre-snap during the game live, and I'm like, oh, they're going after Holland. He's playing deep. But I think Holland just baited the throw in man-to-man versus Ingram, and he had a great pass deflection. So that was big. But really happy with how Phillips played. He looked like he was back to form already, which is crazy. Like, that guy's a freak of nature. I've always talked about how underrated Phillips is as a player. And we need it so bad because they just like, if we don't have that type of pass rush for somewhere, because we need Chubb back too, and we need Chop to get up to speed and like actually get some pass rush reps, because he played, but he didn't get very many pass rush reps. He had like one that was pretty good against Cam Robinson. But we need guys that can get after the passer in those situations. I want to see more guys being moved around, using them to your advantage. We had a sack with Emmanuel Ogba on a nice stunt, which was cool to see. So the play calling was interesting. I think there was a few times they didn't execute early on, but they definitely turned it around. And it was their first game in the new system, so I think the defense will just get better. So many big plays, but there was too many penalties. Drops killed a few drives. Penalties killed a few drives. Some missed throws killed some momentum. Not necessarily drives, other than that one Tyreek miss deep. There was some poor play calling they didn't agree with as well, but I do like the situational better that with like on some of the short yardage. I didn't love I liked the 3rd and 1 play calls, but when it was like 3rd and 3 to 3rd and 5, I didn't love the play calling necessarily. But I do think all those things can easily improve, you know? Yeah, Brewer. I'm going to have a video on Brewer tomorrow. I really liked how he looked, especially considering it's his first game off of injury and he hasn't really practiced, so. You think the offense can improve with just Malik and Wright in there? I think it can be better in certain situations. I don't know how much it would improve necessarily. I think maybe if you're getting like I could definitely see it getting better, but I think we definitely need someone like OBJ. Like his skill set specifically would help a lot. Same with Craycraft. I think he would help a lot just with consistency within the offense. Having everyone back would help. I also think probably having a better left guard at this point would help too. Because I think Robert Jones was struggling a lot and did not help a lot of drives. But I think it just depends how quickly Malik and Wright can get up to speed, because I like them both a lot, but I'm not sure how much they would like elevate the offense instantly, you know? Yeah, I don't know. This was interesting to me too. Storm played and Bonner not, so maybe they just decided that maybe they're like see them pretty evenly. They're both undrafted guys. Obviously, it's Bonner's second year, but maybe they just thought Duck had a better week of practice. They made him active. I'm not sure. Yeah, they loved getting angled the ball. You know what was interesting? Like, because I saw people asking for this a lot, but like if you look at the past years when we ran the angled dive, it did not work. I don't think it ever gained a first down, at least from my recollection. I remember us running it a couple of times. Definitely didn't run it multiple times in a game, and it never worked. But in this game, worked twice, and then we were going to run it a third time, and it looked like it was going to work easily, but we false started. Malik is better than Barrios. Oh yeah, I agree. Anyone is better. Barrios did not have a good game. What else did I got? Yeah, love the grit, love the effort. I think that's having tough wins like that is big. I feel like that's an area where the Dolphins kind of get underrated, as they have had a lot of big comebacks like that. Jake Bailey. Credit where credit is due. I feel like Jake Bailey has maybe been the player, like one of the players fans have hated on the most. He had great punts. I feel like every punt he had was good. He didn't have any bad ones, at least. And he had a lot of like elite punts. Barrios and Smythe major letdowns for sure in that first game. Like Barrios really didn't do anything, and he had that one drop. It was a good play by the defense. I wouldn't call it a drop. It wouldn't be credited as a drop because it was knocked out. But I still would like to see him catch it. And then Smythe was just 2 easy drops. Are you surprised Johnny Smith didn't get the ball more? I would be surprised if he doesn't start to get the ball more from now on. Like, I'm expecting him to get more and more used to the offense. I think since it's week 1, a lot of times, actually, if you look around the league, there's a lot of tight ends that didn't get involved in their offense like at all. I just don't know why. I don't know why that is, but sometimes tight ends start slow, and it's his first game in the new system. So it doesn't surprise me for week 1, but if it continues, then it would surprise me. Hey, and Sanders redeemed himself after that missed kick. I mean, I get it. I mean, it's not like I have the most faith in our special teams players. Elijah Campbell had a forced fumble. Man, if we recovered that, and that was after the Tyreek Hill touchdown, if we went from the Holland forced fumble to the Tyreek Hill 80-yard touchdown to then Elijah Campbell forced fumble to us recovering, which we almost did, Duke Riley just didn't come away with it. Oh, that would have been insane. Achan. Want to talk about Achan. I thought Achan's usage was pretty fun. His running efficiency wasn't very good. It will get back to being fine, I think. You know, there were certain things that just didn't, work out in that game. T, welcome to the Riders, man. Thanks for joining membership. You'll get some early access to videos. I think once I record this defensive one, I'll get it up to people who are members right away. But yeah, loved how he got used in the receiving game. I want him to be used more as a receiver down the field too, because he's so important right now. And I don't know if he was hurt towards the end of the game. I've seen some people on Twitter saying like he may be hurt, and his last touch, it looked like he kind of gingerly came off the field, so I'm not sure. It didn't seem like anything serious, but I do think he is our best running back. The long runs will come for sure. You can just see how he's just a natural with the ball in his hands, and he's just such an important piece. I think he was really good versus the Bills last year. He was probably our best player on offense in both Bills games last season, so I think he's going to be big on Thursday. Yeah, and I wouldn't mind seeing. I think Mostert had an off game. I think he'll be better, and he'll still, obviously, the line just couldn't get anything going running wise in the first half. And I think Mostert got also a little banged up, and then Wilson kind of was fresh, and they used his legs. But I just don't think Mostert will be the same as he was last season. I would love to see Wright eventually getting in there. I don't know how, but I'm more confident Johnny's fit more after the game. And Jonnu had that dropped screen. If he catches that screen, man, it probably goes pretty far. It was set up pretty nicely. If he catches it with and gets upfield quickly, it had a chance to go very far. Hey, I just want to say you have great analysis. I've been tuning in your channel way before we ever seen you surface. Hey, I appreciate that, fortune teller. Jonnu's a great fit, but needs better blocking, better effort and downfield blocking. Yeah, I just Jonnu doesn't need to be an inline blocker, but I would like to see his blocking on move things when he's out in space on leads, tosses being a little bit. But that would be nice. Did Mostert look a little slow yesterday to you? It wasn't necessarily slow. I thought especially on his first play, his vision wasn't good. I think it was indecisiveness. I thought he looked indecisive, which also would make him look slower. I still think he can reach pretty high speeds. I just thought he wasn't playing very aggressive. And I thought that was a problem he had 2 years ago. Sometimes he just wouldn't hit the hole. Yesterday, that first toss play, I thought he made the incorrect read. I didn't break it down in the video, but he bounced it to the outside for 0 yards, and it was actually blocked up pretty nicely for him to get downhill between, I think, our right tackle and tight end, but he didn't take it. Actually, the dude that helped Reason from NFL Insight learn how to run all those graphics. Have you thought about adding? Yeah, I've definitely thought about the overlay stuff. Yeah, you can if you want to help me out with that. I've looked into it. I bet since I haven't been streaming too much, I haven't done all of it yet. But yeah, that would be cool to add some overlays. I don't need to go too crazy, but yeah. Did Mostert? Yeah, Mostert he got shaken up early, right? Let's see. Yeah. What else do I have? Okay, so. Yeah, the Jags D line is going to be one of the toughest battles they face all year. I think that's a big reason we couldn't run early. The fact that we were been able to bully them towards the end makes me very good, feel very good, feel much better about them. And the pass pro was good on the big plays. They didn't have too many 101s, but they did a great job with their play action and getting into the defensive lineman early with their sets, very aggressive with their sets. We can probably, let's see, I think some of the people, like here's the first one. No, this is the, I believe this is the Tyreek one. Let me see. Which I will talk about this because I'm actually interested. Obviously, big play. But I want to talk about the start of the play. Because one, if look at Tua's footwork here. So he does this. He opens up kind of like how he would on an RPO usually, really selling it. And then he flips his hip backs across. He doesn't take any steps in his drops here. Like not a single step. And when he does this, it's usually an RPO. And I feel like this is a little bit different. Like he's selling with footwork. Like he's going to throw an RPO glance. But this isn't RPO. You can tell by how the offensive line's blocking it. Like they're aggressive setting, but they're pass protecting. So this is a play action pass. And Tua kind of went off script. It almost felt like, hey, if Waddle's there, you take it. But if it's even kind of covered versus this coverage, like single high, reset with patience. If you feel like you have, like, we pull Robert Jones across, Jonnu gets into the defensive end. Look how just, like, usually if you watch their D-line, they get off the ball so fast versus the pass is straight pass drops. But since they're really selling run, look how they just get engaged. They get engaged. Everyone's first step is basically forward. So it just looks like this could easily be a run. And now they're all engaged. Now they have to start their pass rush super late. And everyone's just helping each other out across the board. Robert Jones then gets offensive line that's considered like a weakness. Oh, there we go. But yeah. Whoop. Yeah, and Butch Berry we trust. Jonnu. Can you see Jonnu taking handoffs up the middle? Up the middle, probably not, but I do think he's going to start getting more of those design touches. Tua is definitely in the top of the league. Yeah, Tua is very good. Like, and that's very important in this offense specifically, like when it comes to that type of stuff. And it's a big part of like his manipulation because everything's so timing based and leverage based down the field. Like everything has to be perfect sometimes. That was nice. Okay. Dolphins. Yeah, so Dolphins run D I wrote, will be inconsistent, but I love the bounce back. And I think you could see Jordan Brooks and David Long having some poor run fits early on. And I'm going to break this down all. Like, there's a lot of clips to break down. They had some struggle with their run fits early on. I'm going to break it down all in the video tomorrow. But you can tell they got more comfortable. This is actually something David Long struggled with last year in week 1. Like, he kind of had some struggle with the run fits, but it's a new defense. I thought the D-line overall did a pretty decent job. I liked what I saw from Deshaun Hand when he came in. Campbell made some good plays. Sealer was solid. Phillips was the best of the bunch when getting after the passer. And then they really just started tightening it up in the run defense in the second half. Long made a couple bad plays, but then after that, he was playing great football. Like, he was playing super aggressive, getting after it. Brooks had some good plays as well. So I expect the linebacker play just to continue to improve. Because that's a position that definitely needs comfortability within the scheme because they're playing a lot with their mind. It's definitely one of the more instinctive positions, and that one will just get better and better. And yeah, most of the mistakes are very fixable. We didn't score a lot of points, but we put up a lot of passing yards, and we didn't even have the running game yet. And I think that will just get better. And then we missed a big play. We missed a field goal. We had that dumb sack that took us out of field goal range. We left a lot of points on the board. There was another drive there was a couple drives where we just got to midfield and then we couldn't convert a fourth down and things like that. I even seen it because it seems like, yeah. The Debo role, there's no, Debo is very difficult, to compare someone to. To have Debo's skill set is very rare. So I just don't really think the Dolphins have a Debo role. So yeah. Chop was manhandled out there. Yeah, it wasn't the best game from Chop. I haven't specifically watched Chop yet. I remember there was one pass rush where I'm like, oh, that was a nice rep. But he didn't get too many of those opportunities. But I don't remember seeing him and just think like, oh, he was getting destroyed either. But I'll have to report back after I really just watched Chop. He didn't play that many snaps either. Yep, need OBJ and River and Malik healthy for sure. those guys, I personally think OBJ, River, and Malik are our best receivers after Tyreek and Waddle. So not having any of them really, really sucks. That definitely hurts. Let's see. His messages should be hidden now. Okay. Chop cuts the Jags offside. Oh yeah, they did false start. I was gonna say that, Scotty. I was watching that. I was like, ooh, it was the guy on Chop's side. I think he's caused someone has false start against Chop every game now, even in the preseason. I feel like he caused like 3 false starts in the preseason. I think teams are definitely scared of his speed. So, and he got chipped a few times on pass rushing, which was interesting. So, I don't know. Obviously, I mean, there was other guys. Like, I like the Chop pick. It wasn't the guy I was going to take. I even wanted, like, Brian Thomas Jr. over him, who had a good game for the Jags yesterday against us. But I think Chop was one of those picks who was going to take a while to develop anyways, and his skill set is going to be, like, a very specific way of winning, and I just don't think that opportunity really presented itself yesterday. How do you prevent those penalties on the line? Is it just discipline? Yeah, and it's just like, some of the penalties were like, it's because the penalties were pretty stupid. Like, they were unnecessary. Like, the 2 Robert Jones holding penalties were completely unnecessary. Like, it's just like, hey, when the guy starts to leave, like, you can hold inside the chest, but when he starts to leave your frame, let go. Because both the times it happened, Robert Jones just held on for like a split second too long, and like, the plays were already past him. Like, the guys had no chance of being an impact. So, and there's always games, like, obviously, where you're just way more disciplined, and games where you're not as disciplined. And sometimes, and those holding calls were not, they were also kind of weak. Like, those could easily not be called in another game, just depending on the ref. Like, I understood why they were called, but they weren't like calls that would get called every time. Think Malik is going to play Thursday? Honestly, I have no idea. No idea. I haven't heard anything about his injury yet. That is true, yeah. Josh Allen is that offense. Especially, it seemed like that in week 1. I haven't watched the film yet, but when I was watching like parts of that game, because my brother's a Cardinals fan, it was interesting. Like, it seemed like it was just Josh Allen versus everyone. We stayed relatively healthy, it seems like, too. That was definitely, I feel like that was the most healthy we've been after a game in a long time, which is nice. But do you think can play the spy against Josh Allen this week? I don't know. I mean, it depends what personnel package they come out on defense. Honestly, if we bring out 3 safety sets, I would bring out Elijah Campbell. He actually spied Elijah Campbell spied Josh Allen in the playoff game 2 years ago, and actually probably did the best I've ever seen anyone do against Josh Allen. So I might have a DB spy him, because every time we try to have like linebackers or someone spy him, they don't do a great job. You can probably have Chop like semi-spy him, just have him delayed blitz. But if you leave him to like spy, where he has to tackle him out and like with Josh to have like 10 yards to work with to either side, Chop's gonna struggle. But if you allow him to like delay blitz late from the middle and then like just take a good angle, it'll be much better for him to get after it. Yeah, I don't think I've ever had anyone. Hey, that just means that I've made it. That I have someone coming in here to talk trash. Storm Ducks by Allen. I don't know if that's his game. Like, I feel like he'd probably do it, but I think you probably want more of like an Elijah Campbell safety type. Maybe even Saran Neal, because those guys are special teams players. Like, you gotta think, when you're spying, it's very much like playing special teams. Realistically, you're just like, the quarterback is the returner, and you're chasing them down the field. You're working through the trash. So it could be like a Neal or a Campbell. And they're our best special teams players. But also, you can't have a spy every play. I think the Dolphins will use a lot of twists and stunts. It's something they've done against Allen in the past. Like, when they've gotten sacks on Allen, it's when they stunt late and Allen sort of just steps right into someone and he didn't see them coming. Like, if he sees you coming and has time to prepare, he'll either make you miss or break the tackle. So I imagine we're going to run a lot of stunts to hopefully catch him off guard. Really, you just got to make Josh Allen make all the mistakes, because he's going to make all the plays that help them win. But if you can make him make enough mistakes, then that'll be interesting. And poor Hamilton face, I thought he broke it. Yeah, that was kind of crazy. That was so weird. I don't think I've ever seen that happen. Like, where I've seen people's like helmets get stuck together before, but I've never seen it where like someone's hand, like his hand was stuck in there. It was really interesting. I saw. Also, I loved the fire from Tua. I love like the halftime speech, and then the video the Dolphins account posted of like Tua screaming in the locker room. Not gonna lie, it got me super hyped, and I feel like we never see that from Tua. That was kind of crazy. Yes. Oh yeah, here was a passing chart from Tua's passing chart. Tyler Senna posted this. Honestly, too many screens. I liked it. Was pretty spread out, at least. Like, we passed it to the left a lot of times. We didn't pass to the middle, I feel like, as much as usual. So that's something I want us to return to. I want to see more passes over the middle. And then just a few less behind the line of scrimmage. I don't mind having it behind the line of scrimmage, like making your QB's life easy. Sometimes we would struggle to do that. But the passing chart was interesting. And it didn't feel like Tua's best game, and like he still had the most like passing yards, which is crazy because it was definitely not his best game. Could have took Brian Thomas under a 51. Game on Thursday. Yeah, Ramsey was just hurt and hasn't been practicing the last couple of weeks. Sometimes you just play a little, rusty. So I'm not too concerned with how Ramsey's will play unless it continues for like multiple weeks. Plus, I don't think we got to use Ramsey exactly how we wanted to, because when he played, it was mostly on the outside. I feel like the Dolphins really want to utilize his full skill set of like blitzing him off the edge, or aligning him at safety a snap, playing nickel, matching up versus a tight end, playing zone in the middle of the field, that type of thing. I would love to see that. Yeah, here's the stat. The Dolphins had 2 tailbacks on the field for 52.3% of their snaps. No other team was over 33%. Dolphins are insane. And we ran the fake zone read toss we run, which worked a couple times, but then also had some big negative plays too. We started using that as a play action in this game too, where we would fake the zone read to the right, and then Tua would also then do a little bit of a fake toss to the left. That really slowed down the D-line pass rush. Just look at the pocket here. Absolutely beautiful. And then look at the safety on the back end. This is straight cover 2. So like, I think Tua recognized, like, if he wants to throw this, like Tua usually would throw this ball to Tyreek every single time. Like, right instantly, the ball would have been out already. Like, and then Tyreek probably would have got hit, but it wouldn't have been a hospital ball unless it was released now. But because Tua gets rid of the ball so early, and he probably completed it, but he knew that if he hard committed to that, this safety was going to drive down and Waddle would be open on the back end. And I love the fact that we've shown this now, because now the fact that we've shown this, teams now have to respect this. And you can go back to your bread and butter. Like the things we ran last year, like this is why the thing we ran last year started getting taken away, because safeties played so deep, but then started driving. And since our O-line couldn't hold up, we couldn't hold on to it for another split second to hit this ball. And he hits Waddle in stride. Like, that's big time. Where can I find the video of Tua's halftime locker room speech? It's not out there. Tyreek just talked about Tua's halftime locker room speech, but there's a video on Dolphins Twitter of the end game, and Tua just goes into the locker room and just starts like that type of thing. It's pretty like the locker room just seemed like pretty chill, and then Tua just walked in and started like screaming like with excitement. That was the video I was talking about. But Tyreek talks. They didn't show the actual speech. It's just it starts with that, and then it's McDaniel's speech at the end. Coe was on the outside too much. Yeah, I think that was like. I guess they just didn't have the trust in the UDFAs to play full time outside, and Ramsey was just, injured. So hopefully, when Ramsey's fully healthy, you don't have to see Coe on the outside. Let me see what you guys are saying. Thoughts on Chop's first game? Not really much to say. He had like one, I would say, impactful rush play, and that's kind of like what we were expecting. We're expecting to see impact rush plays, and I would say he had one of them, but he rarely got to pass rush outside of that. He played like 15 snaps or something like that. It was 13 to 16 snaps. I don't remember off the top of my head, but most of them he didn't get to have like a true one-on-one pass rush. So it's really tough to judge him because that's kind of where his strengths lie. And he only had like a couple of those opportunities. Yeah, just missed Hill. It's funny it's an overthrow too. Yeah, and Waddle made some tough catches too. Like even that last one, on the final drive, he had a nice catch in traffic. Let's start pot on the first touch. Yeah. But yeah, that was really, really nice. Yeah, the fake zone read toss being play action was one of my favorite new wrinkles that we had. Because it's already a fake zone read, and then you do the toss to the opposite side. So now it's just like a fake run twice, and then it turns into play action. And teams did not, I don't think the Jags saw that coming. And that just adds more like conflict. The Dolphins offense, if anything, even if I don't agree with the exact play call in the moment, our play design puts so much stress on a defense. Yeah, we got 17 more than Ogba and Phillips sacks were huge, yeah. And it was a great play by Phillips. The Ogba one was more of a was more of a schematic sack. It got created by scheme. He got it on a stunt. Here, I can get the snap counts. You know how you can find it, guys? If you go look up NFL GSIS on Google, you go to it and then ask for a username and password. Just put in media for both the username and the password, and you can get access to it. I don't know why that is. I don't know if everyone knows that. I know that because of a place that I used to work for, but yeah. And then you just go to the game book for the Dolphins Jaguars, scroll to the bottom, and it will tell you playtime percentage. Let me see if I can pull this up, zoom in a bit. Here we go. Snap counts right here. Across the board, Jags offense, Miami Dolphins offense up top, and then here's the defense. So you asked for Phillips, right? Let's see. Phillips played 64% of the snaps, so a decent chunk. Especially for a guy who was supposed to be like pretty inactive. David Long, Fuller, Brooks, Holland, Poyer played 100%. Coe played 89. Sealer played 87 still, so he's still playing a bunch of snaps. Ramsey 77%. So Ramsey still played a lot of snaps. Hopefully he moves around more once he's comfortable. And then behind everyone else, it was like Hand, Quinn Bell, Chop played 16. Yeah, that's what it was, 16. And then yeah. Oh yeah, wow. I think so. Julian Hill was the highest tight end percentage. He played 59% of the snaps. So Julian Hill was tight end 1 in this game, which is honestly kind of funny. And honestly, I'm not mad about it because he's the best blocking tight end on the team. And when he got thrown the ball yesterday, he caught it on. I think he only had 1 target. I remember him catching that 1 pass. John knew how to catch, but he had that 1 drop, and then Durham dropped 2 passes. Yeah, I'm gonna make a video on Brewer tomorrow. Yeah, their username is media and the password is media. And I don't remember who told me that. It was from it was some site I used to work for. Peely played 5 snaps. Marcus May played 3 snaps. Benito Jones played 8 snaps. Storm Duck played 8 snaps. Those are guys at the bottom. Yeah, definitely need to clean up the flags. I agree. You know what's funny about this week 1 compared to last week 1? It was another close game. Last year's week 1 was a close game versus the Chargers, but it was like the complete opposite. Like, last year's week 1, we got carried by the offense. This time we got more carried by the defense. But then the defense closed out against the Chargers in the game they struggled. This time it was the offense closed out with the game-winning drive versus the Jags after they kind of struggled for most of the game. And then they had a couple big plays that obviously helped. It's kind of just the opposite. So nice to see that they can win in multiple different ways. So we basically didn't use a nose tackle. Yeah, we didn't come out in base package very, very often. So their snaps will be pretty limited. And I'm sure just based on matchup, they felt like versus the Jags, they probably wanted to play more nickel than base. You don't play a ton of base anyways, but it seems like we even ran less base than usual. Yeah, there. OBJ and River needed very much. I feel like the receivers were struggling to get open on some of those ones. The only time I feel like receivers were like truly open is when Waddle and Tyreek were running like those 2-man route concepts together. And Waddle and Tyreek were the only ones that actually were like consistently finding some separation. But even there was plays where they weren't open to, which it happens. Yeah, so I had it written down. O-line didn't play bad actually on rewatch. Robert Jones was definitely the worst. I like what I saw from Brewer. I think Eichenberg is clearly better at guard than he ever is at center. If Eichenberg's playing guard, I actually don't feel that bad. If he's playing center, all bets are off. Armstead stayed healthy, which is big. He looked great, like always. Austin Jackson had a couple bad snaps, but overall I think looked pretty good. They left him on an island a lot too, and he had a tough matchup versus Walker and Josh Allen. So, yeah, I would say considering the Jags defense of line and the Dolphins offensive line going into this game, I would say they outperformed my expectations. I feel like the only one I was really disappointed in is Robert Jones. I think run blocking wise, it could have been better at the start for sure, but pass protection wise, in their like opportunities where they actually had to block them one-on-one, even though they were helped out schematically, they did a pretty decent job. There was like a couple plays where I'm like, oh, that wasn't good, but that's going to happen against a defensive line like that. Yeah, those were I think those were the notes I had written down. Yeah, it was nice to see that. Need wide receiver depth for sure. But we need receiver depth with just getting healthy. Like we have good receivers in the depth, but they're just not healthy right now, which is unfortunate. I'm gonna watch it back, but I'm not sure why Chosen was active. I just feel like he doesn't bring anything to the table, honestly. If anything, Ezukanma can at least be a better blocker. So who knows? Oh yeah, here was the ETN did not look very good. As I was saying, I just don't think like Tank Bigsby looked way better for the Jaguars. I just think I just don't like ETN's. I think ETN's good in space. I just feel like he's not that great with his vision. And I feel like that was a real problem when he was on the field. And he had that huge fumble. Jalen Wright over Chosen. DeBose didn't get any targets, yeah. I mean, that's the feel with this offense. If you're not Tyreek or Waddle, and then you're not one of you're not Achane, and you're not one of the tight ends, you're probably not going to get very many targets in most games. But there will be a handful of games this season where another receiver needs to step up, and there's just certain plays where they would. Like the certain plays where the receiver needed, like a third receiver or fourth receiver needed to get targeted. Tua just didn't have a chance to get it to them, you know? They're not open, or he had to scramble instantly on a play. So those opportunities will come, but they need to go to like an OBJ. Rivers one will for sure, who if he would play would get targets because Tua trusts him a lot. And I think Malik could get a couple if he's actually, ready. Yo, Bills are coming. Hoping we're ready. Yeah. Oh, hopefully. Should be fun though. I feel like it's a pretty good situation for us. A home game on Thursday early in the season. I think to get the Bills, it's not bad. So, and hopefully we can build off the momentum. Tank played way harder than ETN. Oh yeah, for sure. Even take Wright over Tanner. We should put Tanner over. Honestly, I'd play Tanner Connor over some of our backup receivers. Be an interesting look. You're not one of the chosen receivers connecting the ball. True. But yeah, shout out Phillips. Was there anyone else who was inactive that was surprising? I don't think so. Andrew Meyer being inactive was not surprising. Wish we had a taller receiver. Yeah, it's just hard. Honestly, there's not very many good tall receivers. Most tall receivers, what's weird? I feel like with tall receivers, you're either like super elite or you're just not an NFL level player. Because it's very hard to be like super tall and like athletic enough to actually play the position. To like be that size and be athletic. If the Dolphins can find a like decent sized receiver who actually fits in like our scheme, I feel like that'd be a really nice find. But it's going to be difficult to find that. Yeah, I I think slowing down the running game is huge against Buffalo. Hopefully our run defense is a little more consistent. The Bills receivers don't necessarily scare me at all. It just comes down to like how long can Josh Allen run around for his receivers to get open. Like it's really just like slowing down the running game and then putting Josh Allen in those situations where it's like, okay, Josh Allen's either gonna score a touchdown on this play or throw an interception, and you got to hope it's not the touchdown. Hey, yo, homie, your knowledge of the game is crazy. Did you play football or coach? Well, I played up till high school, and then I've done some scouting things for like different places. I worked in UCLA's recruiting department as like an intern, and then I've done I've learned from people who were like scouted in the NFL. I've never done coaching though. No. Dun, dun, dun. And I feel like any other groups. I feel like I talked about all the groups and most of the specific players. Yeah, so you guys have questions? Any like specific questions that we didn't get to? I'm gonna have defensive film breakdown tomorrow, which will be fun. There will be a mix of negative and positive plays because even though the defense made a lot of big plays and only gave up 17 points, it was definitely a slow start for them. And there's a few drives where like, ooh, that wasn't great. But I do like there was a lot of defensive rotation. We showed a lot of different looks, and I just liked how, at least on my first watch, I liked what Weaver did, and I feel like it will only get better. And this was a tweet I saw from Coach Vass, who's actually a good coach on Twitter, but he even said this. He said, watching the Dolphins defense all 22, they're going to be fun to watch this year schematically. Multiple 1 to 2 high, I'm lagging, multiple 1 to 2 high disguise structures, different variations of 3 buzz, all-out 0 blitzes, zone quarters, half combos by formation, 3 cloud, multiple 2 deep corner sims, a variation of spike 1 rat, 3 and 2 deep fire zones, like all the different stuff that we ran. Hold on, I'm kind of lagging here. Hopefully it fixes itself. Is it bad? I'm gonna end in a second anyways, but Mo Kamara isn't getting any snaps this year unless there are injuries. I could see him playing with the people we have right now, but I think it might take a little bit. Like I could see him getting over Quentin Bell because personally, I'm not really seeing much from Quentin Bell. So I think it could happen without injuries, but yeah, injuries is probably the quickest path to him getting some snaps. Who's your offensive and defensive player of the game? So defensive player of the game, I have to say Holland. He just made too many of the biggest plays. Other than that, it'd be Phillips. Offensively, player of the game. Let me think about this. Honestly, like I feel like Armstead was probably the best player on the offense. But I don't know if he was the player of the game and like most impactful, you know? What's that coach's name again? Coach Vass, Coach VASS on Twitter. I'd rather have Kamara active on over Peely on this defense. Yeah, that makes sense for especially if we're gonna be not playing base in that specific game. But yeah, offensively, I don't know. Either Armstead. I feel like Achan was probably our best player from start to finish, at least like impact wise. Tyreek made obviously the big touchdown, which was game changer. I'll just say Teron. Armstead was probably the best offensive player of the game. But it's potentially Achan, potentially Tyreek. Tua had a good game. You think we purposely didn't show Sashu's chop Kamara, right, for Bills to see this tape? I think it's possible, but my guess would be no. I think, it's just usually you're starting a little bit slower with rookies. Now, they could get unleashed against the Bills if that's just how it plays out. I think if there's anything we didn't potentially show, it's going to be more of a schematic thing, maybe not a player-specific thing. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe McDaniel didn't want to show certain things, like maybe with emotion or like a certain play calling, a formation that he showed versus Jacksonville. I feel like that could be different, though. Yeah. Wait, let me see if I can find it. Achan, I don't know if did I like it? There's a stat about Achan and how many snaps he played at receiver, and it was like very high. I think he played more snaps at receiver than running back in this game. He had 7 catches on 7 targets. The Bills haven't lost a game by 6 or more points in 3 seasons. Yeah, it's always gonna be tough to beat the Bills. Are we beating the Bills? I mean, we have a shot. If it's in Miami, the Dolphins always, I think, have a decent shot of winning, no matter who the opponent is. Like last year, the Dolphins didn't play good against the Bills in Miami and they lost, but they still had a very decent shot of winning. They were winning for a majority of that game. So I think if they just play decent football, like they have a very decent chance of winning. We had 0 turnovers. That's true. That was big. Yeah, other than technically not converting, but definitely nice to see. But yeah, overall, I was hyped after that game. I was going crazy. Shout out the team for not giving up. I mean, it was looking rough early, and that would have been a bad way to start it. I actually like that we started off the season with a little bit of adversity. I think that's probably good for the team, especially considering like during September they've kind of just rolled through some teams. So Jacksonville's not bad either. You look at the roster, I think they have a pretty good roster, and I don't even think they played that bad for the most part. They definitely outplayed us in the first half. Second half, I think coaching was actually their biggest problem. They kind of went away from some things that worked, and then they had a couple plays where I'm like, or they had a couple of drops by like Christian Kirk that hurt them, and they obviously had that fumble. So getting this win, I think, it's over a pretty good team, and it was a nice comeback, which I think goes against some narratives. The Bills gameplay starts with short throws. Only now McDaniel will start pushing down the field to watch. Yeah, we'll see. I wonder if like those long throws to Waddle and Tyreek that we saw, the one where like he held onto the ball for an extra second. I actually think those types of plays in the past would have been open against Buffalo. So I wonder if we're going to see those, or maybe Buffalo, now that they've seen it, will try to be more aware of it, and then maybe that will open up some of the other, middle of the field 15-yard throws that we usually kind of struggle with against the Bills. But yeah, I think not having certain players will hurt us. I'll definitely do like a preview beforehand because I need to watch it. Yeah, the Punch-Out definitely won the game. Yeah, we definitely have a decent chance. It was in Buffalo, right? The Arizona game. Cardinals had a decent chance of winning that game. They were up for the most part. It was just Josh Allen kind of carrying them. My voice was really hoarse yesterday. Oh yeah, I was screaming. Posted the A chain. Oh yeah. Should I look it up? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we follow each other. I should find it. If I can find it. If it's actually here, I'm kind of scrolling through Twitter. It's kind of laggy. I haven't found it yet, but it's got to be far. It's got to be far. Oop, wrong thing. Oh, I definitely scrolled past it then, because gotta go work. Thank you, Ryder. I appreciate you, Patrick. Thanks for sticking around. Right to come to the game day roster on Thursday. It's possible. It kind of looked like maybe if we had some injuries that the running backs got a little banged up, maybe not like fully, but I wouldn't mind seeing like a fresh right in the game. Did you hear McDaniel say we're the best short yardage team in the NFL? I actually didn't see that. Did he say that? I mean, maybe we are. I mean, statistically, we were converting them. Maybe this year. Or was he saying like, did McDaniel say it as a joke? Why is it we can cover other team gunners on punts? We are the only team where our punt returner has a guy in his face every single time. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like it was too egregious in this game, but yeah, usually it feels like we don't have a ton of room to work on punt returns. I go here. Yeah. Okay, so yeah. Well, this wasn't there was another tweet that I saw that said like his actual snap count at receiver and running back. But yeah, he had 14 snaps outside, like in the slot and out wide. And the most other was 8. So Achane was clearly being used as receiver as much more than anyone else. Go for it, Grant. What's your take on Duck making the Duck one? I feel like out of some people were surprised by a lot of the inactives. I would say that was the Bonner one was the only one surprising to me. Because I thought with Ramsey being, it wouldn't have been surprising if Ramsey was like full go, but with Ramsey kind of being like, oh, we're gonna, not have him play every snap. That one surprised me. Maybe, I'm guessing just, they're both seen as UDFAs. They're probably both seen like, hey, they're really high on Storm Duck. They're really high on Ethan Bonner. They're both probably seen like relatively similarly. Maybe they either thought Storm Duck had a better week of practice leading up to the game, or maybe they thought Storm Duck was a better fit for this game specifically or something. I'm not 100% sure what to think about it. We'll see if that trend continues. I think that will tell a lot of story. If it continues with Duck over Bonner, then I'd be like, oh, then they just consider Duck over Bonner. But yeah, it's definitely, that one was the surprising one for me. The other inactives did not. How many fantasy leagues are you playing this season? Just 2. And one of them's just with my family, so it's not very serious. I have one that's pretty serious that I've played in for a very long time with like my friends. Started off with a win. I think I was the highest. I'm gonna be the highest point scorer most likely of the week. I definitely won. We both have one player left, but I'm up by like 50. But yeah, excited to do more film breakdowns. I should have tomorrow Brewer and the defense. I'm gonna do the defense first, just do the full defense, and we'll do an Aaron Brewer. I need to learn how to say his first name because it's not Aaron Brewer breakdown, because I really liked what I saw from him. And then I'll have a Phillips breakdown on Wednesday, and then also we'll do like a preview of the Bills game. Because it's a short week, so not too many videos to make on the game itself, because it's going quickly, but yeah. How many Dolphins are on your team? Actually, not that many. In my main league, I usually always have a Dolphin. I think I have Mostert, and it's just Mostert, and he's on my bench. In my other league, I have Achane, which is good. I like having Achane on my team. This is probably the least amount of Dolphins I've had in a long time. I remember I missed out on Waddle by 1 pick in both leagues, and it was devastating. Like, Waddle went 1 pick before me, and I was going to take him both times. Why NFL cornerback is too easy to profile? Yeah, if Bonner's out there, they're going after him. Okay, Right, will you have time, or do you know the Bills versus Cards was such a close game? I'm gonna watch the Bills Cardinals game, and then probably do like maybe a stream on Wednesday and show some clips on it. I watched some of it live because my brother's a Cardinals fan, and he was watching it on his phone next to me, so I saw a decent amount of it. Yeah, I love this. Love this Irving. I talked about it a lot in my video and in this stream. Absolutely loved the design too of those plays, and like you could tell him and it was him and McDaniel clearly that wanted to put an emphasis on that, not trying to hit it. Like the Waddle one, the one that went to Tyreek touchdown where he first looked at Waddle was a great decision not to throw it to Waddle because he wasn't open. The one where he threw it to Waddle, like he could have hit Tyreek, and he usually would make that throw, and I would be like totally okay with it because it would have been like a nice 15-yard gain to Tyreek over the middle. But you could tell he clearly was expecting like that safety to hard commit down, so I love that. It's AA, Ron. Oh, man. But yeah. I went through pretty much everything, but honestly, thank God. Honestly, the Dolphins winning really saved my mood yesterday because I was not in the best mood watching the game for the most part, and then I started getting hyped in the second half. And if they lost, I would have been so down all day. But it really turned my mood around, so. But yeah, shout out the Dolphins, shout out them winning, shout out to you guys. Check out the film breakdowns. I already posted one earlier today, and it was way too long of a video. It's like 30 minutes long, which is, there's just so many clips to break down, but yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Excited for the rest of the season.